going on, guys? Aquan here, back with another video. Here today, we're back. Finally getting through. There's a lot of reviews I've had to get through. I just got back from the TJ concert. Vlog will be coming pretty soon. Here today to give you all my review of Magic 3. And I wasn't planning on doing this review, but after giving the album a listen, I think that I'm going to have a bit of a different perspective on it than a lot of other people. So I might as well talk about it. This is Magic 3 from Nas, the third and final installment of the Magic, and the sixth installment of his just general Hit Boy series. This is the last thing we're going to get from Nas, which is, I think pretty cool. I think he's ended off on a pretty good note overall, and this has been a pretty legendary run in my opinion. So, talking about Magic 3, let's talk about it in context. Obviously, this is coming only 2 to 3 months after Magic 2, so not really much time to digest the original one, and he got directly into this new one. And I will say that while I think initially I gave Magic 2 a pretty positive review, as I listen to it more and more, I think I really like it less and less, and begin to sort of look past what I thought were its virtues and sort of take more issues with it. One thing I'll show y'all here is, the review, for the way I score things. First, I'll show y'all what I initially had it as. And now I'll show you what I have it as now. I think that it was a lot more miracle, spiritual, metaphysical, individual than I gave it credit for. Also, the production was pretty bland compared to what other Hit Boy stuff is. And generally, while again the production isn't overall bland, because Nas as a rapper isn't exactly he doesn't exactly take up the most space vocally, and it's just sort of him rapping. It didn't make for truly engaging tracks. Normally people who rap on beats like that are people like the Migos or people like 2 Chainz, people who I think have a bigger presence on the mic in my opinion. So yeah, coming off of Magic 2, we were already pretty oversaturated with Nas, and it wasn't the highest levels of Nas in my opinion. That being said, I actually liked Magic 2, Magic 3 a fair bit more than Magic 2. I still think that Magic 1 is the best. But yeah, let's get into Magic 2 a little bit. Magic 2, I would say the writing is great. There's a pretty diverse range of topics that he talks about, from introspection to experiences that he has, to his experience in the dating world, this is kind of his first time really getting into that kind of stuff. And he's got his, miracle spiritual bars here and there. And I would say that there's the most amount of corny lines on here. But I would also say that he definitely fills out complete stories, complete thoughts, complete schemes, on this project, pretty well. And it's all substantive. He's always talking about something. There's not as much of that I'm killing MCs, blah, 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 type of rap. There's real substance to a lot of what he's saying, even if it's just stories about his life. And really appreciated that overall. I would say that even the tracks where he's talking about girls, I think that on one hand, I will say that for a pretty younger person like me, hearing Nas, I think Nas is at least in his 40s, probably in his 50s though, talk about how the dating climate needs to change, I think is just really weird and cringy. However, I do think that we should spend more time celebrating rappers aging. And while I find this to be a bit of a cringy, weird thing to say, this is some cringy weirdness that I wouldn't expect from an older rapper. And so I can't really be mad at it. This is kind of the place I expect him to come from at the end of the day. And it makes sense, honestly. Other than that though, you got a lot of different diverse performances on here, and it was overall pretty solid. Some deep stuff like No Tears, and based on true events and sitting with my thoughts, and then some more higher energy stuff like Superhero Status, I Love the Feeling, Blue Bentley was pretty good as well. So yeah, you got a sort of mix of different subject matters and diverse performances lyrically from Nas. And while this definitely has some of his cringiest bars, I still think that there was a decent amount of lyrical focus, and he expressed himself pretty well. Going into the production, again, I'm going to give this a great. I think there's far more interesting stuff about this production than Magic 1. I think Pit-Boy uses a lot more samples, which is kind of interesting. And it's a style of Nas that I personally haven't heard as much, him using like samples and stuff like that. And so it was kind of cool to see Hit Boy really engage with that sample side. And it was like a different style of, because it was like a different old school style a little bit. You know what I mean? With the older samples and stuff. But I really like the different ways. Like I think Blue Bentley versus Take Fever. The way that the sample is implemented is very different. So you have that wider range of the way that the samples are implemented. And the surrounding instrumentation is also pretty good. Yeah. I will say it wasn't as expansive as, say, a King's Disease 1, nor was it as like high energy and like complex as a King's Disease 3. But for what it offered, it was pretty good. And I would say that, for most people, I think if you consider the Jack Harlow production to be good, I think this is a step up from that. And so I would consider that a great, absolutely. Next, I'm going to go with the feature. I'm going to go good. There was a solid Wheezy feature. He did sort of do that thing for a little bit that I'm not crazy about, where he just kind of says words that link to each other rather than like completing whole sentences. And I'm not personally a big fan of that from Wheezy. But overall, the feature was good. The bars was cool. And lyrically, it's a standard Wheezy feature. Nothing too crazy. And of course, the way that Wheezy comes in all the time is just iconic. So yeah, absolutely, solid Wheezy feature. Music, I'm gonna give this a good, honestly, mostly because, and I think I'm gonna start doing this more often, because I don't really know, like, I have to be honest about my own musical experience. I'm gonna just give this a good and sort of borderline mid, just because we're so oversaturated with Nas at this point, Nas and Hit Boy at this point, and there's just not much. Like, again, similar to the Conway record, he's already given us so many verses, he's already given us so many production styles. This combo has already been done so much, especially this year, that there's really not much to take from it. There isn't much to really, like, yeah, there isn't really much that I couldn't get from Magic 1, that I couldn't get from King's Disease 3 from this project sonically. And so while I do appreciate what it offers, I don't think that at this point, and maybe if it was in isolation, it'd be a bit higher. But I think given that we just got Magic 2, and given all the other Nas projects that we're still, slowly dissecting and breaking down, I don't think it fares all that well musically, and like replay value wise. There isn't much of a reason to bump this over Magic 1 or King's Disease 1 or King's Disease 2. So yeah, musical execution, it was cool. It was alright. The flows also, they were cool. Wasn't nothing crazy. Just standard Nas flows. I would give it, we'll say good for now. He didn't have too many, like there wasn't a diverse set of flows really on this record, and the delivery didn't change all that much, but it was still that classic Nas voice that we've come to love, and he's engaging pretty well with these faster flows, and he's overall making his projects more appealing to the new school, which is something that we always, tend to really appreciate. And overall, I would say this project is pretty great, man. I feel like because we're so deep into this run, and it's so smushed together, opinions of an art all that high, but I think that, especially from a writing standpoint, this was far better than Magic 2, and he really does tell a lot of detailed stories about his life, and I feel like Nas just has so much content to pull from that, he really, could rap about, anything, and it would be solid. I also think that, like, again, while I personally see the love songs as cringy, I won't really count that much against him, because that's what an older dude is supposed to be talking about. Like, you know, it wouldn't really make much sense for him to be, you know, giving like deep emotional tracks about the first time he ever experienced love. That doesn't fit with his current life, you know, style at the current moment. And so yeah, that's my opinion on Magic 3. Let me know what y'all thought of this album in the comment section below. The Tekka review will probably be the next thing that I drop. I do have midterms this week, so definitely be patient with me. Yeah. We got that. We got the Tekka album coming up, and I am trying my best to get through this Diddy album, this love R&B record with like 3,000 freaking artists, an hour and 23 minutes. If I review that, no, I love y'all. If I really review that, and because and that's not even, I got to do a ranking for that one. I can't even do, or like a rating system for that one. I can't even do like a proper album, you know, review, good, great thing for that one, because like there's just too many people, too many diverse performances. So if I end up reviewing that, y'all know I love you. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know what y'all saw of Magic 3 in the comment section below. And with that being said, peace, y'all.